Today I'm going to show you how to use the life timeline that came with your kit, which we call the Lifeline. The Lifeline provides a chronological framework for your life and also gives you a place to record memories randomly as they come to you, rather than trying to force them to come chronologically. You'll notice that we've provided you with 2 Lifeline sheets in your kit. If you're creating a life storybook about a limited scope or theme, then you may want to use one of the lifelines to jot down major milestones throughout your whole life, and use the second lifeline to record memories that are specific to the time period or scope of your book. The first will give you a rough chronological overview, and the second will give you more room to record your memories. If you are creating a more comprehensive life story, you may want to spread out your life across both lifelines so you have plenty of space for writing. The point is, use these lifelines in whatever way makes sense to you. If you prefer to use a notebook or Excel spreadsheet, that's fine too, whatever you're most comfortable with. The important thing is that you have a handy place to capture memories as they come to you. The best way to get this process rolling is to spend a set amount of time, usually not longer than an hour, for an initial brainstorming session. If you go for longer, you might get burned out, so just take it easy the first time. The point is, for this initial session, to divide your life into chronological sections and then quickly write down anything you can think of in short phrases. Don't worry about what you can't remember now. You will use the brainstorming memory trigger questions, as well as your photos and other memorabilia, to stir up more memories later in the process. The lifeline I create on this video took me about 30 minutes. I'm going to start by opening up my timeline and making some loose divisions at the top. These divisions can be anything that makes sense to you. Many people divide their lives into years, decades, or by major life milestones such as childhood, school, college, marriage, etc. I decided to make this lifeline for my childhood and young adult years, and so I divided it into infancy, young childhood, older childhood, junior high, high school, and college. I put the years in the label at the top with notes above, such as what grades I was in, where I lived, etc. Begin to jot down memories in very short phrases. These are only to remind you about the detail or incident, so don't try to write long sentences or paragraphs on the lifeline. You'll have plenty of time to flesh them out later. For instance, under junior high in 1974 to 1977, I wrote, "Got my braces off on day Nixon resigned." That phrase is enough to remind me about that incident for now. If you run out of room under a particular division, you can continue onto additional sheets of paper and keep them with your timeline. Just be sure to label the sheet of paper so you know what time period it belongs to. Don't feel that you have to work in chronological order. If you're jotting something about high school and it suddenly reminds you of something else that happened to you when you were 6, just go with the flow and jot your childhood memory under the appropriate time frame. Very few of us think in a linear fashion, and the idea is to capture fleeting thoughts before they disappear. When the flow of memories starts to slow a bit, flip your lifeline over and look at the historical timeline on the back. Connecting our own lives to what was happening in the world at the time can jog memories for us, as well as to make your story more interesting for the reader. For instance, I saw a picture of Mickey Mouse on the back, which reminded me of a great trip I took with my family when I was 8 years old, where we went to Disneyland and watched the moon landing on a black and white TV set in a motel. I flipped over the timeline and I jotted that memory under my early grade school years. You'll find that this process is actually a lot of fun. When the flow of ideas starts to slow down, or if you get tired, don't force it. Take a break and then come back fresh to begin using the memory trigger questions. After you've taken a break from your marathon quick memory session, you can begin to use the memory trigger questions in the workbook to release more memories. The most important thing to remember about these questions is that you don't have to actually answer all of them or even any of them. They're there only to loosen up your memories so that you can write more things on your lifeline. Start by reading the questions and put a check mark next to any that interest you. If a memory comes to you while reading the question, write it down right away on your Lifeline before you forget. You can continue using the memory trigger questions to help you remember a little bit at a time. You can also refer to diaries or calendars or planners that you saved to jog memories. And don't worry about finishing your Lifeline. There's no deadline. You'll continue to add to it in the coming days and weeks and as you collect your photos and other memorabilia in Step 3.